Hey there, I'm a DIY track guy, this is my humble garage, and today is GoPro mount day and how to make your track day videos look awesome. Let's go. Before we start, please like and subscribe so I can make more spine-tingling content like this. It's really not that exciting. This video has two parts. First, we're gonna make a super stable, super solid, roll-bar attached GoPro mount that holds two cameras, front and rear, for next to nothing. Second, we're gonna talk top tips on how to best use your camera to make your track day and your driving look as awesome as possible. Feel free to skip to this section if you already have a solid GoPro mount. So you're heading out to your next track day and you say to yourself, all my boys are gonna wanna see my legendary driving skills. So you grab your GoPro, go to your car and try to figure out how do you mount this thing to film your driving for maximum epicness. If you're anything like me or my super friends, you probably have a dizzying collection of things like this. Wiggly things, wobbly bits, screwy things, bally things, and things that stick. I'm tired of all this stuff, maybe you are too, so let's make an alternative. So here's the scraps that we're gonna use today. Some aluminum angle, aluminum flat bar, bolt-on quick release slide mounts, which are standard for GoPros and other action cameras. And an old 1 5/8 inch exhaust clamp with a couple of extra nuts and lock washers. This clamps to your roll bar, and if you're going on track, you really need to have a good solid roll bar for your own safety. Watch this video to see me struggle to install one. To cut this aluminum to size, we're over here at my extremely old and well-used Ryobi miter saw. You could also use a jigsaw like this with a metal cutting blade, an angle grinder like this with a non-ferrous metal cutoff wheel, or just cut it by hand with a hacksaw. If you're gonna use a miter saw, I recommend not using a wood saw blade. I bought one of these on Amazon. It's a non-ferrous metal aluminum cutting 60-tooth saw blade. For the horizontal cross piece, 20 centimeters works for me, but measure for your application. And for the arms, we need 2 of them, 1 for each camera. 11 centimeters is good. Safety first. Now it's time to make some holes. Much like me, this is another tool of questionable age and quality. This is my old drill press. On each part, I scribed a center line and marked spots to drill holes. If you don't have a drill press, that's okay. Just use a regular drill and a stepped bit. So here we have it, these 3 simple parts with holes drilled in them. Another thing to do is to put a slight bend in these arm pieces. There we go. Before we paint these parts, I'm going to wipe them down with acetone. Now that the paint's dried, let's assemble this very simple contraption. First, let's fasten the slide mounts onto the arms. Now let's put these arms on the horizontal cross piece. Okay, that's assembled. This is an old bicycle inner tube that I cut up. Now we take our exhaust clamp. I know it doesn't look like much, but here it is. A roll bar attached GoPro mount that holds front and rear cameras. You may be asking, how is this solid enough to hold 2 GoPros? It's only held on by this one nut. So in practice, I've installed mounts like this in several race cars for 14, 16, even 18-hour endurance races. And the video always comes out looking great, super stable, rock solid. So if you don't have a mount already, you can consider using something like this. And lastly, we get to how do you make your GoPro batteries last for the entire day? This is just a regular battery pack that you would use to charge your cell phone or camera on the go. I just cut a couple of extra pieces of angle iron and flat bar. I used 2 more exhaust clamps on the roll bar and mounted them on either side. Then you can take the battery pack, pop it in, and secure it with a piece of hook and loop wrapping like this or a zip tie. Then you run a USB cable, route the USB cable up to the GoPro mount, and plug it into power. I also recommend using a piece of Gorilla Tape to secure this plug into the GoPro. The vibrations from the car tend to destroy these cables and could end up messing up the plug. Using this very battery, I've been able to power 2 cameras for the entire day continuously. And this battery would still have a charge and the camera batteries would still be at 100%. So if you're tired of swapping batteries, you may want to consider a setup similar to this. Alright, you made it. Top 5 GoPro and other action cameras, tips, tricks, and techniques. To set the stage, I prefer watching track day videos that are in-cabin fixed mounted with a clear view of the track ahead and show a portion of the driver manipulating the controls. Although helmet mounted and handheld footage can be engaging and exciting at times, I enjoy using video as a form of data analysis to see the driver's racing line, braking, turn-in, apex, and exit points. And in wheel-to-wheel racing videos, I like to see how the driver reacts to traffic or rain or battling hard with another competitor. There's no one way to make good track vids, but this is a special formula that I prefer, so take it with a grain of salt. And for reference, I use GoPro Hero 5 Blacks, but these tips should be applicable to the vast majority of action cameras.
Top tip number 1.
Position the camera vertically about eye level and horizontally, slightly off center toward the passenger. We're used to looking out the windshield at eye level, so try to simulate that in the video frame. And if the camera is positioned too close to the driver, the seat, or the driver's helmet may take up too much of the frame. I aim to have the driver portion in the left third.
Top tip number 2.
Position the direction of travel near the center of the frame. Similar to the last tip, when driving, we're used to looking in the direction of travel. It feels natural to have directional focus in the center with the peripheral elements moving backward around it.
Top tip number 3.
Spot meter the center of the windshield. Spot metering means telling your camera to auto-expose a certain area of the frame. By spot metering the center of the windshield, this will auto-expose the video for outside light. If you don't do this, then often the video will auto-expose for the dark interior and the outside view will be washed out. This happens a lot because full frame metering is usually the default. To enable spot metering on a GoPro, tap and hold the screen and a big white box will appear. Continue holding and a small box will appear. That's the spot metering target. Move that box to the center of the windshield and release. Now the camera will auto-expose for the outside light.
Top tip number 4.
This may be a controversial one, but no image stabilization. Some racers I know only shoot with image stabilization on because it cuts down on vibration and those little micro shakes in the video. But for me, as long as the image isn't distorted, vehicle NVH can add a sense of speed and excitement to the footage. Also, in turns, I find image stabilization moves opposite the direction of travel, which feels very unnatural to me.
Top tip number 5.
Set your field of view, or FOV, to medium. FOV is the amount of that fisheye effect, and this one depends on the specific options in your action camera settings. I find that linear view doesn't show enough in the frame, and a wide angle view makes everything look weird. Cars look too small, the peripherals zoom by too fast, and the track looks too narrow. That's why I like the medium option.
Bonus tip.
And let's be real, the video you capture is a poor reflection of the thrilling experience in the moment of driving on track. I find that there's very few people who are interested in watching me pound around a racetrack lap after lap, no matter how awesome I felt at the time. Inherently, driving looks easy and boring. You're just sitting down and you're moving a steering wheel. There's no G-forces, there's no vibrations that come through your spine, there's no visceral feel of the road. So just be realistic about what you can capture on camera. So those were my top 5+1 tips on making your track day videos look awesome. If you have great tips that I missed, please leave them in the comments. Maybe we can do another one of these videos later. All right, track DIYers, that's all from the Mostly Useless Garage. You're awesome, I'm useless. Thanks for watching.